All tricks, no treats in the Medicare space.
What could it be? What could it be? Oh, hi there. It's my birthday. I'm Christian Brindle.
Area 51, 100%. I'm in. There's alien technology that we've been trying to recreate. The government's been lying about this one for a long time. Long time.
All right, everybody. Welcome back in to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. This is episode 167 of the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. I'm Christian Brindle, joined with Glenn Shelton as always. And we are back to start another week. We are one day before the official start of the A, E, and the P, ladies and gentlemen.
I almost grabbed a Santa hat this morning since it's technically AEP Eve. It's Eve. I guess we already celebrated AEP Eve, but it's, pre-AEP coming to an end, actual AEP starting tomorrow. If you close your eyes and you listen closely, you can hear all of those apps about to get submitted. It's like a tsunami wave in the distance, just building. Christian, how many apps are you going to write tomorrow? 10,000? What would you guess?
Those are rookie numbers for Robot Patriot Insurance.
I can't say. I just want to say right now, too. I know I've said this before, but it drives me crazy how many people want to just run and post these numbers on social media, whatever they are. I wrote 6 apps. I wrote 20 apps. My agency wrote 200 apps yesterday. Nobody cares. I genuinely don't care what so-and-so wrote because at half the time it's not true anyways. So it's like, why should I care about some number you're posting online? It drives me crazy.
It is a bit of a game that's been going on for many years where maybe it is technically true, but it's a combination of existing client rewrites, right? It's EDP
Great
apps.
Point.
Like I remember in the past, there were people that were posting their AEP numbers, like people that would run large Facebook groups, and they're like, yeah. And then people would ask questions, follow-up questions, but and it would kind of be uncovered that they're including PDP apps.
Right.
And things like that. It's like, are you for
Great
real
point.
right now? Who counts those? I've never, it's always baffled me when people counted those apps because I never counted those apps. We never counted those apps. Like when I was selling, I'm like, I did, I would do 100, 200 PDP enrollments. It's kind of like something I have to do.
Your audio's, you're slightly behind at the moment. Good sir.
Testing.
Bad. There we go. You're back. Anyway,
but it always just kind of baffled me a little bit that people would count those PDP apps. Enrollment numbers. So there's always a little bit going on there. I've also seen people that they're 500 apps under my name. And there's 6 L writing under their name, that kind of thing. And it just there was somebody that was number one for a big national med sup carrier for many years.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
15 people writing under their writing number, right? And people and agents look at that and they'd be like, wow, production. Look at all the production. And it's there's probably a million agencies to where if they did it that way and didn't do it the right way, where the agents were writing under their own writing numbers, that they would be above that.
100%.
It's
smoke and mirrors, right? Even if there's truth to what's being posted, it's often slanted. The rewrite one is, I think, one of the big ones that you'll see people posting their rewrite numbers like they just wrote all these new apps. We have a ton to cover today, so I don't want to take too much time up front here. One thing I wanted to mention as well is I've actually seen some surprisingly positive commentary in the group, which, it's few and far between, but to see any of it warms my cold, dead heart. So shout out to the agents who are staying optimistic this AEP, which Christian and I have tried to really stress. There's reasons for optimism. So I love it. We need more of it. We need more of that optimism.
Before we get into the main topic at hand, I know we wanted to kind of address a situation that kind of popped off yesterday. This AEP is wild for a number of reasons because, I was talking to you the other day, and one thing I think we talked about was it seems like every day or every other day there's like news that comes down of some kind. And it's like, enough with
this just in. We have breaking news at the Seven Figures Robust headquarters.
Right.
I'm being handed live information right here on the show.
Major carrier murders agents.
Breaking news.
You're being drafted to go to war by the carrier.
There's war in Portland. Glenn Shelton will be on the front lines of war-ravaged Portland.
Going up against blue and pink-haired people.
Inflatables. Inflatable animals. Oh, my God.
But no, it is weird in that way, right? So yesterday, and we have to be very careful with what we say on this line of topics. So I'm going to tread a bit lightly, but there's a major carrier comes out yesterday that basically, and this is something that most agents don't know, but has been going on for some time with a lot of carriers. This is not like it's anything that's like new or groundbreaking.
Exactly what I was going to say.
But it is probably the first time that I recall seeing a carrier of that size just publicly being like, "Hey, we're doing this. What you gonna do about it, son?" Is essentially the messaging.
What you gonna do about it, son?
That's kind of the way I read it. Of course, open to interpretation if any of you read the tone a little differently. But essentially, big med sup carrier that also does MA stating that, if anybody has a med sup plan with them, they're going to be marketing to them aggressively this AEP to try to move them to Medicare Advantage plans. And if they successfully do so, you lose that client is kind of the messaging, right?
Right.
And so, that kind of blew up a little bit on the Facebook groups. Again, right, it's something that I've known has gone on with a lot of carriers for many years. There's certain carriers where we would try to, if we could, leave off like a phone number or something like that off the app because we know that carrier is going to hammer them relentlessly. I don't know if we did like a PDP app or something for them historically. So this is not new tactics by any means, but it is a little new from the standpoint of unapologetically admitting it.
Well, so I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here today in the sense that at least they admitted it and gave you guys warning, gave all of us warning, because again, historically, what I can tell you and there's an example to go back to the insurance forms days, again, to show my age here. There was a major Medicare supplement carrier. And I remember this was like, quote unquote, scandalous at the time when this went down. They were promoting a third-party call center to help with PDP rewrites. There was some sort of connection where the Medicare supplement carrier was sending direct mail, and it had branding from the Medicare supplement carrier talking about helping with PDP, but also rewrites. Again, very similar to the type of language we saw with this announcement yesterday. And there was an 800 number on the marketing, on the direct mail, and it did not go back to the carrier. It went to a third-party call center, and if that client got rewritten, it's gone, right? And there was no warning. Nobody got warning. The only reason that information got out is because, some smart brokers put it together once they got all the pieces. So I wanted to give everyone a little bit of a different perspective on this because one, some of you are new and never heard or seen anything like this. And so you're thinking, again, Chicken Little, the world's ending, the industry's coming for us. And two, I think the bigger topic at hand here is coaching your clients. I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, it gets really difficult to coach your clients against the carrier. It's one thing to coach against other agents and be like, hey, if Christian calls you, you tell him to go to hell. I'm your agent, right? I'm Glenn. Like, don't work with Christian. Like, if you need help with anything. So it gets harder, but I still think if you coach your clients correctly, you can this is probably almost a non-issue. If you properly coach your clients. That was, I think, the message I wanted to get out on this.
Yeah, I think it's a good message, and I think it's probably what agents need to be thinking about, right? Because like at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing that you can do about it is not write that carrier anymore, not give them any more MedSup business, knowing that will be the end result. That being said, the truth is, if you want to be realistic about it, probably most carriers that do both products are doing this, to be honest with you.
For sure. I believe that to be true as well.
So like
most carriers are doing this. That was also one of my thoughts I had.
Now, if you're working with a carrier that only does MedSup, that probably saves it a little bit, if you write, I don't want to say any carriers by name, there's multiple carriers that don't play in the MA sandbox, right? They don't have the truck. They're not.
The deep state is watching you, Christian. Be careful.
But there are some people that, they're not in the MA sandbox. There's some carriers, right? They're in their own little sandbox that's MedSup only. Think about it like, glasses with tape on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Big braces. A little bit of acne, a little bit on these MedSup carriers, a little bit. They don't play in the MA space. They're not part of the cool kids club.
The carrier I was talking about from before, they're not in the MA space, and they were still doing stuff just like this. So take a second, talk to the people about how you would coach your client. So let's say we've got a new agent, they're watching or listening to this, or maybe someone who's newer to the industry, and they're going to write 100 new clients, 200 new clients this AEP. During that process, what can they do or say to try to make sure that before any changes happen moving forward, they consult you or they consult your agency before making any changes? How would you frame that to your client?
So what we've done in the past and what we continue to do is when there's carriers that we know are doing this, if we do have to write a product of theirs that we know they're going to call the client on, we'll typically, so first off, in every conversation we're having, we're having the Medicare Advantage conversation from a generic perspective, right? So we're having that Medicare Advantage conversation. So the client is aware of it. So if they are getting a MedSup product, it's because that they feel like that's their best option. Right, that's what they want. They've chosen not to go the MA route. They want to go the MedSup route. So then, what I would typically tell them is, I just want to make you aware that this insurance company will. I'm not saying they will be contacting you to try to get you to move to a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, remember, we talked about this. This is something that you didn't want. You want a Medicare supplement plan. If you change your mind at any point and you want to look at the Medicare Advantage plans, I can do this for you. But if they do this, what you want to do is just don't answer the phone if you know it's them. If you do answer the phone and it's them, just hang up. You have somebody, that's me. I'm here to take care of you. And if you do ever go with them on that, our relationship is severed and I can't help you anymore.
Oof.
So I'm not afraid to tell them that.
Our relationship is severed. Did you the visual on that? I'm seeing an umbilical cord just get snipped right in front of me. And I love that. This is great.
That's what I've done in the past with situations like this, with PDPs I've written and things like that. I've even had certain individuals where they're like, well, if they're going to be bothering me, I want to go with a different company. I'm like, perfect. Let's do it. Let's go with a different company on the PDP side, on the MedSup side. But I'm making sure that they're aware of it and that, you know, I'm setting the expectations, I guess, right up front. And that's what you guys should be doing too. It might even, like I said, convince some people to go with another plan, and that might even be best.
And on the life side, when I was having similar conversations with my clients, because again, there's always other agents in the field, also carriers on the life side, right? Again, I won't name names, but there was a really big carrier that would send direct mail pieces to clients that a lot of times they're offering a direct to consumer premium that a broker has no access to that product. And so you're kind of left, you know, just shrugging your shoulders, being like, I can't help you. Like, that's something only they can offer you. So, you know, the type of language I would use would be like, hey, listen, you know, I will review anything that comes up. If it's a better plan that's being offered to you, I'm not going to stop that from happening. I'm also a broker, so I can work with any plan here in the state. So trying to get to that other side of it too, where you're like, listen, I work for you. I don't work for the carrier. Like, I represent you first. And then I'm representing the carrier. I want what's best for you. And I want to make sure that that doesn't change. And if you go with someone else, you know, they might have different motivations than my motivation of being able to help you. You know, captive agents, not that they're all bad or evil. The reality is that they only have one product to offer you. And there's so many captive agents out there, and they're just, you know, hammer sees nail. And so I think that's something that I would always try to kind of coach against. So that's an easy way to make these massive issues shrink way down. I feel like if you take this type of approach with your clients, and it doesn't have to be this big ordeal, you just kind of lay the framework for your clients. Now, obviously there's going to be a percentage of them that are just going to go rogue, right? I mean, just senile elder folks who pick up the phone and they're like, okay, you're calling from where? Okay. But that's just part of the business, right? You just have to minimize the risk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And, you know, again, it's not anything that hasn't been happening in the past. There's, again, ways around this. If you have those conversations early and often with your clients, I think you're going to have a really much better chance of this affecting you. Also, right, like, you know, if you set the expectation early that you can't help them if they go for this, people are going to think twice, because the service that you provide is, of course, in addition to the insurance company. They know this, they experience this, and they don't want to lose that service. Like, a big reason why our retention rate is so positive every year, it's not going to be 97.5% every year. It's probably going to be like 94 some years, 95 some years. Still phenomenal. A large part of that is because a lot of our clients, they think twice because they don't want to lose the service that we provide on an ongoing basis. And, you know, I think it's just letting people know that, listen, I'm your person. And if someone calls you and you enroll with them, it's not, first off, it's not anything I can't do for you. Number one. Number two, I can't help you anymore. Your lifetime customer service has expired at that point.
Oof. Another just dagger. Your lifetime customer service has expired. Your lifetime customer service check just bounced. It cannot be cashed here anymore. Well, and I know this has happened to me personally, and I guarantee you've had this too, though. How many times has someone switched policies and then they call up wanting you to help?
Of course.
All the time.
All
right?
the time.
That would happen to me as an agent too. Where I'd be like, what's going on with my premium with this carrier? And I'm like, I don't even write that carrier. I'm like, what are you saying? Like, why are you calling me? Like, you canceled my policy. Like, get out of here. You're not my client. I can't help you.
On the Medicare side, they'll come back to us and will be like, yeah, in order for us to help you, we have to be able to change you to a plan that's with us.
Yeah.
And moving on back. Moving on back. But yeah, no, I think it's, do I like to see it? Absolutely not. Do I think it's good or bad that the carrier just came right out and said, this is what we're doing? I don't know. I'm a little conflicted. On one hand, it's like, would it be better if they just did it and didn't tell you? But on the other hand, it's like, why do they feel so comfortable telling you as an agent, a little concerning, setting the precedent, I guess. I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you, in terms of that aspect of it. But do I like it? No, 100% not. And I think you as an agent, you need to be aware of it. Hopefully every single person knows which carrier we're talking about, by the way. You would have gotten an email yesterday. So
yeah,
today's October 14th. It would have came October 13th. Put the pieces together.
How effective do you think that will be for this carrier? Do you think they'll crush it? Or do you think, we're trying to save the subs this month. So this goes directly against everything we stand for when it comes to saving the subs.
Yes.
So
they're very anti-saving the subs position on their part.
Yes.
I think it will be less effective with people that have active agents that they work with. I think it will be much more effective for, inactive agents or ghost accounts. I think it'll be effective for those people that don't have anybody that helps them on an ongoing basis. I don't think it'll be as effective for clients that have engaged agents that work with them on an ongoing basis.
So orphan, you think the orphan policies, the policies?
Yeah, I think it'll be super effective for those.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Still waiting on my hat, by the way. We'll see if I ever get my hat, but this is a great spot, I think, to transition you guys. First and foremost, speaking of Save the Subs, right now, this week, from now until Friday, you can download my book for free on Amazon, How to Qualify, Present, and Sell Final Expense and Medicare Supplements to Seniors. You go to Amazon.com, or if you have the Kindle mobile app, or if you have a Kindle device, you can either search my name or search the title of the book. It will come right up, and you can download this 100% for free. I am doing this in honor of Medicare Supplement Awareness Month. This was published in 2016, which is crazy that it's almost been a decade now. But what I can tell you, even though there's been some landscape changes in the Medicare space, there's still a lot of incredible content and principles and scripts and tips that are just as applicable today as when this got published. I worked with over 40 different agents, working on them with their scripts and tips, and combined it with all of our knowledge into an A to Z guide. It's honestly gotten incredible feedback, 140 reviews, over 4.5 stars. Highly, highly recommend it. If you haven't picked up a copy, you can also purchase a physical copy for just $8 off Amazon. And in honor of Medicare Supplement Awareness Month, we also have our $19 exclusive call verified Medicare supplement leads at Lead Heroes. So if you're looking at how you can offer more Medicare supplements this AEP, do not wait. Head over to leadheroes.com right now, and you can grab $19 Medicare supplement leads. This is over a $630 savings. Normally it's $40 per lead. You have just a couple weeks now. So this promotion ends at the end of October, and then it will go back to that $40 per lead price point. So don't wait. head over to leadheroes.com, LEADHEROES, leadheroes.com, and get those $19 MedSup leads today. Save the sups. Save them. They need your help.
They need
us.
saving, my friends. They're like the whales. Okay. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Picture a whale that's running, that's swimming. It's swimming fast. And then there's people running, people in boats behind it with spears like this. And they're throwing the spears. The whale's dodging them in the water. Like, that's the sups right now. Okay.
It's riveting. Riveting.
So you can contribute to saving the sups this October for MedSup Awareness Month. So make sure to get those $19 MedSup leads and find a home for a helpless MedSup today. All right, guys. Let's try to transition into the main topic at hand for today. We got about 20 minutes, a little bit under left on the show. So we'll kind of dive into this a little bit. So in terms of the main topic at hand, it's agents who have to touch the stove. And what does this mean? What does this mean, right? Some of you might hear that and you're like, what? What does this mean? You know, I have little kids now. Glenn has little kids.
I do. We were little kids, believe it or not. I know we look like we're 90, but at one point we were little kids, okay?
And one thing that's a thing with little kids is like, you can tell them over and over and over again, hey, little Billy, the stove is hot. You don't want to touch it. You'll burn your hand.
Yes.
But sometimes their little kids need to experience it for themselves.
Yes.
You can tell them 100 times, but they're still going to touch the stove and they're still going to burn their hand. They're still going to have to learn, ouch, that hurt.
Yes.
And so what we found, you know, we were having a conversation the other day and I'm like, a lot of these agents are like little kids. You know, you can tell
100%.
them something over and over and over and over and over again, something that you've gone through, something that might have cost you big money.
Yep.
You know, that was a mistake. And some of these agents, I don't know if it's that they think they're smarter than you, you know, or they're like, oh, you know, like they just, unless they actually touch the stove and burn their hands themselves, they have to do it. They have to try it. Right. Talk about this a little bit, right? Like, where do you think this comes from? Why are agents like this? And I will also say, my experience, I don't know about yours, there might be some mildly successful agents, but there's no massively successful agents that have to touch the stove. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think part of it is human nature. So like that's part of it, but I think a lot of it also stems from inexperience. Like when I was a new agent, I think I had some of this myself where I wanted to kind of try different things, even though I'm being told like, hey, do this, don't do this. And then I'm still kind of trying to do so. So I think a lot of it stems from inexperience, because the further along, and like Christian and I have had a lot of private conversations lately about this topic, which is why we're talking about it now. But, you know, where we're at today, I'm looking at it from the viewpoint of like, hey, I don't want to get burned. I don't want to touch the stove. So I want to do my homework and make the right decision and follow people who've maybe already set a trail forward for success, right?
Yes.
I don't need to go pave a brand new road, you know? And if you're a stubborn, strong-headed individual and you come into the industry and you're new, you might look at it like, you know, I'm going to burn it all down. I'm going to chop a hole in this forest and pave my own road forward, even though, you know, I was told I shouldn't door knock for med sups for 10 years to build my book. And I'm going to do that because I think that's the most effective way of building my Medicare book. Like there's, versus all sorts of different ways of marketing that would be more effective. So that's the type of mentality here that we're talking about. And I do think it's fair to say that if you're very, very successful, you're usually not the person that's touching the stove over and over and over. And it's crazy though sometimes because one of the agents that we work with who's been in the industry for a while basically had a very stove touching moment the other day, and that's when we were just both kind of left shaking our heads where we're like, what is this? Like, why is it like you've been in the industry for years? So it's not even always, it's not just new agents that suffer from this. There's plenty of agents who've been around for a while who still do this too.
100%. And some people, that's like innately who they are, and like you can look at their career and it's like, okay, you've been doing this 11, 12, 13 years and you're making maybe $100,000 a year. And it's like, takes you 12 years to make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's because you're always touching the stove. I mean, you're basically putting your face on the stove. And it's like,
is this warm? Let me check.
You're like, don't touch the stove, honey. Okay, Mom. It's like, like taking it to a new level for sure. It's like
with my forehead,
putting your tongue on the stove,
Hey, that water was boiling 10 seconds ago. You might want to wait for it to cool down before you try to
pour it on your head.
Yeah, you're like, let me check. I mean, what do you think is the best way you can help when you see someone who is chronically touching the stove, as we've framed this? What do you think is the best way someone can help an agent that you find doing this? Is there a way?
All right.
Are they unhelpable? Your reaction to me, you guys, if you're on the audio only platform, the face Christian just made was like telling someone they had terminal cancer. And Christian's face was just like, they're dead. There's nothing coming back from them.
I really believe that, to be honest. Like, I don't think there's anything you can do. Because here's the thing: how can you guide somebody who doesn't want guidance, who genuinely just wants to prove you wrong?
True.
Like maybe it's not even that aggressive, right? It might not be like that's the primary motivation. Where like you as a mentor, they want to prove you wrong, but it's like they don't believe you. Like. Billy, I touched the stove once. I got 2nd-degree burns. It was really bad. I had to go to the hospital. I highly don't recommend it. Don't do it. Well, it'll be different for me. You just didn't touch the stove right. I'm like, okay.
Can you give some real industry specific examples of some stove touching that you've seen over the years? I know there's a lot, but just so people can really I want agents to really understand this, because this is a pandemic. It really is.
Oh yeah.
This is an epidemic, however you want to frame this. It's a mass casualty event we're talking about here, guys. We really are.
How I think a big one is like, there's 3 categories I'd place it into. Number 1 is like trying something on the marketing side, right? Like,
yes.
There are things that we have spent tens of thousands, if not maybe even 6 figures or more, on marketing that we've come to the conclusion, we've tried it every which way, just hasn't worked, hasn't been effective, right? There's other things we've tried that we've gotten down really well, almost to a science. So naturally, we would tell our agents, hey, this is working, this is not. We've invested like hundreds of thousands of dollars on both together, and the stove touching example would be like, well, the thing that you spent tens of thousands of dollars on that didn't work. I'm just going to do it anyway because I don't think you did it right or something like that.
Yep.
Only
to have them come back and be like, you were right.
Right.
That's how that ended. Yeah.
So like something on the marketing side, something like that, lead generation side, something like that. Number 2 is like something operationally,
Yes.
So like there's things that you can do that make your life easier from a process perspective,
Yes.
agents that want to do everything themselves, that won't build a team is a great example of this. Like they say things that they're like, I hired somebody one time and they weren't good. I caught them on their phone and I, texting all the time. So I let them go. And now I don't trust ever again. I'm like a scorned lover. It's like, so, just like in that book, Great Expectations, like the mom sits inside and doesn't see the sun for 30 years, stays in the wedding dress. South Park did a great rendition of that, by the way.
Oh man.
Do you love her, Pip? Nobody knows what I'm talking about. I guarantee. Like nobody knows. Do you love her, Pip? I don't know. I think about her all the time. Did she break your heart? Tell me all about it. It's a hysterical episode if you haven't seen it. It's even better if you read the book, Great Expectations. Most of us read it in high school. But anyway, I kind of got off the rails there. So that's a great example.
Operation. Yes.
That's a great example as well. It also could be like, hey, we found that, if you're selling all by yourself, or maybe you have like one part-time person helping you or a VA or something like that, that if you're trying to sell Medicare Advantage in 40 states, that's probably dumb because the markets are different everywhere. The plans are different everywhere. The networks are different everywhere. You can't possibly know them all.
That's such a common one is, hey, I'm brand new. And I think the way I can make more money is if I get licensed in more states, Yeah. It's like, no, that's not how you don't actually make money by getting licensed in 50 states. That's not how you make money.
And for most of you have millions of beneficiaries in your state. What's wrong with your state? What's the difference? So like I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, we figured this out years ago that maybe we have a slightly higher cost per acquisition if we just limit our marketing to our home state for client acquisition. Not to say we won't write in other states, but like, that's our primary focus. Maybe our CPA is a little bit higher, but our lifetime value is higher too, because our retention is better. We don't have to work as hard to retain that person. Like we just have such a sizable advantage over others because we know the market so well.
Yes.
So like, that's a good example, right? There's all kinds of things on the operational side. How about I put a poll up in the group the other day, about booths.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Now, there's always people that will, jump in and be like, I had a good experience with a booth. I'm not saying it's a blanket statement, but we've talked a lot about booths before. The vast majority of them are just not great. And it seemed like the consensus, let me find this poll. I think like the vast majority, like 80% of the votes were like, they're a waste of time.
Well, while you're pulling that up, I wanted to mention the staffing one specifically because that's been like a hot knife in my side the past few weeks. There's a few agents in particular that I've spent a lot of time working with, or I've talked to, or I know them, and talk to them about, hey, this is what Christian and I do with virtual assistants. This is how we're leveraging virtual assistants to help us. And, obviously if you followed Christian and I at all over the past, 12 months specifically, we've really tried to make this a focal point for you guys because we know how helpful it can be. And to see the messaging from some of these agents now over the past couple of weeks where they're like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to contact all my agents. I'm drowning in some of the basics right now. I don't know how I'm going to write the business I want and be able to, retain my book, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, we've talked to you for months and months and months about staffing and how we can specifically offer a solution to you to help you leverage other people's time. And it's just one of those things where it's like, by trying to continue to do this alone, you are literally pressing your face against that hot stove. You really are.
The agents that say those things like, I hired somebody one time and they did something wrong and it didn't work out, it ended ugly, and then I never hired again, and I'll never hire again, only me, my clients won't deal with anyone but me, like they're the same ones they're the same people that are complaining about how they're overwhelmed right now.
1,000,000%.
They're the exact same people that are complaining about that. By the way, I found the poll.
You found the poll. Okay, let's hear it.
There's 134 votes on this.
That's a good data set. Let's hear this.
The two options, it says, are booths valuable during AEP?
Love this.
Option one was no waste of time. Option two was yes, great opportunity. 76% voted no waste of time.
Should have been 97, but that's okay. We're still the majority, so that's all that matters.
Now, here's the thing, right? Like, there's agents I know that I'm talking to right now during AEP that are like, I'm having a good experience at my booth. You can definitely find good locations and good opportunities and things like that. I'm not saying it's like never anything that should never be considered, but like the vast majority of the time, it's just not that.
9.5 out of 10 times, you're better off marketing a different way.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, success is subjective. If you have zero marketing dollars and you really don't know what you're doing, you're still trying to get your footing. Sometimes a booth can be good. So again, devil's advocate. I understand there's situations where it makes sense, but 9.5 out of 10 times, you're better off marketing a different way. I want to squeeze in this last one, and then maybe we roll into final thoughts. But another one that's a total hot stove moment that I've seen so much of over the years, especially at Lead Heroes. The agents who are super inconsistent about marketing. They'll buy some leads. They'll even have a good experience buying leads and working them. Then they stop buying leads, and then they start floundering. They start drowning a little bit. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. Like, why isn't this working? And it's like, well, you've been really inconsistent with leads. So it's like, this is a total hot stove moment, right? It's like, spent money on marketing, had success with the leads, brought in new commissions, new clients, decided to stop spending money on marketing. The leads slowed down, went away. Now the commissions aren't coming in. Now you have less revenue. Now you're not sure how you're going to pay your bills. Now you're failing out of the industry and you're wondering what went wrong. It's like you had it. You had it. You had the success. You could have easily just rinsed and repeated.
Yes.
But you failed at that. That one's a mystery to me when it comes to the stove touching, and yet very common, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
There's a lot more I think we could get into.
There is.
Maybe this deserves a part two. If you guys have the interest, let us know. Comment on any platform, and let us know if you guys want to see a part two of this topic. But yeah, I mean, rolling into my final thoughts on today's episode, guys. I think talking about the main topic of the stove touching. Here's the thing. There are people that come into our industry that do things that others are not doing, and they're trailblazers, and they invent new ways of doing things. Most of you are not that. And most of you are not going to get that by doing things that have failed over and over and over and over and over and over and over again for thousands of people. Right? The people that trailblaze are people that try things no one's ever done. Right? Like brand new, innovative ways. Like I think about myself in a way, like there were certainly, you could say, moments where I needed to touch the stove, but I was touching the stove in like the way of like using social media to grow my business. Everybody told me not to do it. Everybody told me seniors don't listen to podcasts. Seniors don't watch YouTube videos. Seniors aren't on Facebook. all these things. Don't help agents. Don't share what you're doing with other agents. All these things. Those are all things that you could say, technically, I didn't follow cohesive advice from people that have been in longer than me, and I touched the stove. But I was doing things that, not to say nobody had ever done before, but very few have done before. And a couple had done it very successfully. So like there was a pathway, right? And that to me is the difference. Like if you want to be a trailblazer, if you want to be somebody that finds smarter, better, more effective ways to do things, picking something like door knocking for MedSup, or like selling in 40 states by yourself, or trying to do everything yourself and not hiring, like you're smarter because you're saving on payroll. I'm so smart. I don't have a payroll bill.
I don't have a marketing bill. I door knock for MedSup. I don't have a payroll. I do everything myself. I'm so smarter than you.
I can guess someone's income when they comment on the groups and they're like, I've never bought a lead before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have an idea where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not to say that finding new and innovative ways of doing things is a bad thing, but like, maybe you should, I don't know, just ask yourself, has this been tried on a wide scale before and not worked? Because there's a lot of those things out there. Who is doing this right now that's succeeding in a big way? Yeah. Is there anyone? That's a question to ask yourself. And that to me is, would kind of wrap up my final thoughts on the stove touching, right? Like, not to say that you have to be drones and just do everything that you're told by your upline or anything like that. That's certainly not the message either. But there are some things that just everybody at the top looks at it and it's like, oh, that you shouldn't do that. That's stupid. Everybody knows. Everybody's touched the stove.
Yeah.
And you do have to do it anyway.
Yeah. So my final thoughts, you guys, again, we're not trying to gatekeep here. We're not trying to say that you can't be creative and bring in your own strategies and perspectives into the industry. It's more so about doing things that traditionally haven't worked and putting in a ton of time, energy, effort, and money into those things. And then being like, oh man, now I have to work at Home Depot because I just failed out of the industry doing something that I was told wouldn't work. Like maybe build a successful base, build a book for a while before you start taking swings at, these outliers, these really crazy strategies that maybe you shouldn't have. I'll give you another example of something we've talked a lot about. Handwritten cards.
Oh,
Christian would die on this hill, as you guys have heard before. You could do it. You could make a decision. You could make a physical decision to say, I am going to write a thank you card on every policy I write. I'm going to write a birthday card. I'm going to handwrite it because I want my client to know that I care and that this is something that I want to do. This is, in my opinion, this is another major hot stove moment. You could do it. You could absolutely do it, but you're wasting an incredible amount of your time. It was my birthday yesterday, and I'm a client of our agency at ESI, and I got a birthday card in the mail a couple days ago. It actually came on Friday. It was literally a perfect timing. My son, being the nosy child that he is, he's like, oh, Christian sent you a letter. And he rips it open. He was convinced, and I'm mad. I don't know where it is. I'll have to find it. I think it's somewhere, but he rips it open. He was convinced it was handwritten. He was convinced. So here's the irony of this whole situation, right? The majority of you would look at it and say, well, if I start automating this, my clients are going to think I don't care because I didn't handwrite it. Well, my 13-year-old literally held up the letter, looked at the writing on the outside, and based on the font, and it really does. Like, if you look closely, like if you really look closely,
You can tell.
But you have to really look closely. If you're just kind of going through your mail, you're going to see it and open it up and be like, oh, that's thoughtful. Right? I mean, it's honestly pretty solid.
So far, this AEP, we've been told by countless clients,
Yeah.
Thank you for the birthday card. Thank you for remembering me. And I guarantee you, every single one of us was like, it was your birthday?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I get birthday cards
Automatic.
from us, and I never remember they're coming. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't even remember what it is. I'm like, what is
Yes.
this? Oh,
Yes.
I open it up, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I'm like, I thought of me.
The point so to really drive this final point home is like avoiding touching the hot stove is like simplifying your pathway to success. Like,
Yeah.
don't do something that you don't have to do, and handwriting cards is a great example of something that you don't have to do, that someone could. Again, Christian's already touched the hot stove. I've touched this hot stove. I've written thousands of thank you cards and birthday cards. I did it all by myself at the beginning. I didn't have staff. I used, but why do it? Why touch the hot stove when there's an easier way forward? So that's my final thoughts.
I love it. Guys, appreciate you watching all the way to the end, episode 167. Do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, 5-star reviews, whatever the platform of your choice will allow you to do, however you consume today's episode. And we'll be back next time with another episode. Tomorrow's October 15th. Hope you guys are in for a busy day. And here's to your guys' massive success. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, everybody.